3.5 years after Russia's illegal and unprovoked invasion of Ukraine, President Putin has failed in his war aims. He is failing on his military objectives, on the economy, and on his political objectives for both Ukraine and Europe, thanks to the courage and resilience of the Ukrainian people and the support and determination of Ukraine's friends. As Ukraine stands firm against Russia, the UK stands firm with Ukraine. Ukraine's security is Europe's security, and the security and stability of the whole of Europe is vital for our security here in the UK. President Zelensky stands ready to hold talks for peace, but President Putin seeks only to escalate war. He will not succeed, because now is the time not just to continue with our steadfast support for Ukraine's defence, but to substantially increase the pressure on Russia's economy and on Putin's war machine. Major new UK sanctions against Russia's biggest oil companies and shadow fleet, new concerted actions with our partners to choke off oil and gas revenues and to hit at the heart of the Putin's economy and war machine, because we are determined to support our Ukrainian friends and to stand up for our own security now. We know that with increased desperation, however, comes increased danger. And in recent weeks, Putin has engaged in provocative and reckless violations of NATO airspace in Estonia, Poland and Romania, against which NATO stands together, resolute and ready to act. His recent bombardment of Ukraine has seen some of the largest attacks in Europe since the height of the Second World War, with civilian casualties rising nearly 40%, with children killed in playgrounds, hospitals and schools destroyed, and civilian energy infrastructure targeted. Just yesterday, a UN aid convoy was hit, delivering vital assistance to a frontline community. So while we continue to strive for peace for Ukraine, we must be steeled for the war to continue. And that means focusing on 4 priorities. First, ensuring that Ukraine gets the support it needs to stand up to this latest onslaught. In my meetings with President Zelensky and Foreign Minister Sybiha in September, I reaffirmed the UK's ironclad support. We are providing £4.5 billion of military support for Ukraine this year, more than ever before, with over £150 million worth of air defence and artillery delivered in the last 2 months alone. We've used our co-chairmanship of the Ukraine Defence Contact Group to galvanise partners, raising over £2 billion through the UK-run International Fund for Ukraine to support the most urgent military needs. And during that key visit, I announced £142 million in UK aid to support Ukraine through the winter and into next year, including our largest emergency energy support package since the start of the war, to restore and repair water, heating and electricity systems. Second, Madam Deputy Speaker, we will ramp up the pressure on Russia to ensure that their escalation comes at a clear cost. So I am today setting out a further new set of sanctions, among our strongest so far, to tighten the pressure on Russia's economy. This will be the second set of sanctions I have announced in a month, and I'm ready to go further still. It will take the total UK-imposed sanctions on Russia-related individuals and entities to over 2,900. At the UN Security Council last month, I told Foreign Minister Lavrov directly, shortly before he walked out of the chamber, that we will target your ailing economy, your oil and gas revenues, and the defence industry making your munitions, because we know for Russia the cost of war is piling up. With immediate effect, we are sanctioning Russia's 2 largest oil producers, Rosneft and Lukoil, the 2 biggest Russian energy firms ever targeted by UK sanctions. Part of an extensive new sanctions package of 90 targets, including refineries around the world that are responsible for importing Russian oil, suppliers of drone and missile components, and 44 shadow fleet vessels, further disrupting the network of tankers that transport Russia's oil.